Welcome to the Tax and Subjects Podcast, brought to you by Drake Software. I'm Ryan Norton, and today we're going to talk about ProtectionPlus. Now, ProtectionPlus is a business that offers tax professionals a wide variety of services that can help their clients during filing season. From audit assistance to the Prepare Error Guarantee, say that 3 times fast, they say that they can help you save time and avoid headaches. So to learn more about ProtectionPlus, we've invited sales executive Brady Lievens to talk about some of those services.
Yeah, and thanks for having me, Ryan. It's great to be here.
What is the ProtectionPlus IRS and State Audit Defense Service?
Yeah, so the ProtectionPlus service, and that's our standard service, that Audit Defense, Audit Assistance Service, is a program that can be offered to a taxpayer at the time of tax preparation. And then in the event that that taxpayer received a letter from the IRS or the state, whatever that might be in the future, we've got a team of enrolled agents and CPAs on staff that are there to assist through that whole process. And so what we've done is we've created a service that's available to a tax professional that's a part of the software that they're already using,
right?
So that they can offer ProtectionPlus service in the midst of their tax process. They're not going out of their normal processes. They're not creating something new. It's a part of the process they're already going through to offer this program to their clients and provide, really an extra service that they, have a great opportunity to tell their clients about, and a great option to allow them to enhance the services that they provide to their clients.
But how does ProtectionPlus help with something like denied credits or problems like, say, with filing schedules?
Sure. And so those are two of the most common issues that we see. When we deal with tax problems, we'll see all kinds of issues that come in. I mean, it could be as basic as a CP2000, could be a full-blown audit, where there's years of information that the IRS wants to pour over and go through in person. And, there's the whole gamut of options that come in. But what you found, especially in the past, I'd say 5 years or so, is the IRS has taken a really close look at denied credits, so things like earned income credits, child tax credits, education credits, and schedules. And it makes sense, I think, if you think from the IRS's point of view, because they're looking at the areas where they're giving away money.
Right.
When it comes to a credit or a schedule, somebody's getting a tax break of some sort.
And especially the EIC, what is it? They're required by law to delay even issuing that credit until February just to try to catch any sort of fraud that might be going on.
Right, and that's been, we may touch on that in a little bit, but some of the fraud that's come through it's caused even more regulation and, more scrutination on some of those things.
Right.
And so that's a lot of what we deal with every day. I couldn't tell you the number of calls and letters we get about exactly that denied credits and schedule issues.
Yeah.
But generally what the IRS is looking for when you get to a situation like that is they're looking for proof. They want to see, okay, if you claimed this education credit, or if you had these business expenses, show me where that came from.
Right.
How can we see that that's legitimate and not something that you just typed into a tax return? And so our process when we deal with something like that is pretty extensive, because we want to make sure that that gets answered quickly, because the faster that we're able to help somebody with that process, the less likely it is that they're going to look more in depth into other parts of that tax return.
Right.
And so when we get a denied credit or a schedule issue, we try to focus on, hopefully finding the right information to show the IRS. There are certainly a lot of different options. You can show different kinds of information that might prove different things. And sometimes we have to get creative because not everybody has the kind of documentation that you might hope they would have or that the IRS requests. You've got to mix and match and put a puzzle together to show the IRS what it is that we need to show them.
So you're telling me that tax clients don't always bring all the information that they need to bring to their tax professional?
Believe it or not, that's right.
Oh, that's crazy. I don't believe it.
And I'll tell you, that's part of the trouble that as a tax industry we face. And that's part of what we try to help with too, is a lot of times when something gets sent to the IRS, it's the same way, right? You get piecemeal things. We've got some of this and some of this, but we didn't have everything. We've got, this, but it's all just out of order. Here's a stack of everything. And you can imagine, the way, you as a tax professional get information. It's helpful if you have things organized, what things are and what they apply to when a customer, comes in, when a client comes in. And so for an IRS agent, when they're looking through some of this stuff, they're looking for some of those same things. If they see a portfolio come in that is well put together and they can see exactly where things are and it's complete, on that first try, you can imagine just as a person that would be a little bit easier for you, and you'd probably be more likely to give that person a favorable outcome.
All right, let's move on to a different question. Could you take a moment to explain those identity theft protection services or identity restoration services that ProtectionPlus offers?
Yeah, and so that's a good question. When we started out, and quite a few years ago, audit assistance is what we did, right?
Mm-hmm.
We helped with the things that we started talking about, with letters that came in, with audits, correspondence in person, whatever it was that came through.
Right.
But what we've seen a lot of lately, similar to, we mentioned that fraud, there's been a lot of issues with people claiming other people's tax returns to try to get those refunds. And so about, probably 5 or 6 years ago, we started to see an uptick in the number of identity theft problems on tax returns, which correlates with, the general identity theft problem that we see in the world at large, not just in taxes. And so we had clients that were coming to us for help with those issues. They said, well, we've got this identity theft problem. We tried to file the return and it didn't go through. We're getting a rejection because there's been this identity theft problem. And I said, well, okay, that's something we can help with, right? We can help through that process of helping getting your tax return filed, making sure that, you're able to get it filed for the years to come. But what happens a lot in those situations is it's more than just the tax return that was affected. Mm-hmm. What you see is if someone has an identity theft problem in one area of their life, they probably have other identity theft concerns elsewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And it was an opportunity we felt like to provide better service to, not just the tax professionals that we partner with and that use our program, but those taxpayers that are having, the trouble. Think about it. Do you know what to do if you have an identity theft problem?
Well, I have personally had to write articles, so I do
so
have a good
not
idea.
A fair case here.
However, before I had this job, I would have had no idea.
Right, and that's
just like,
the general population is a lot like that. And what exactly do I do? Do I need to call the credit agencies? Do I need to file a police report? Mm-hmm. And that was an area that we felt like was lacking. We could help them with the tax stuff originally, but we couldn't do much beyond that. And so a couple years ago, we added, full identity theft restoration services. And so that means not just if you had a tax-related identity theft problem, but if you have a credit card that's stolen or a bank account that's compromised, you have a loan that's opened up under your name and it's not you.
Yeah,
we can help with all those things too. And because that's what we found is a lot of those people that have an identity theft problem with their tax return, they have a lot of those other problems too.
Yes, and I know that some of that definitely stems from that. Again, I was guilty of this before this job, but you'd use the same password and login information for everything. Your Netflix account, your Gmail. Oh, sure, my tax prep or my was it the client-facing portal that I use with my tax professional? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they use the same information. If a bad guy or bad gal gets a hold of that information, they have a hold of everything.
Right, and you think about they get a hold of your tax return. They've got a lot of information about you, a lot of personal information that may be used elsewhere, that they can use to again, get further in to where your identity is.
Right. Get that money from the tax return, get that money from a credit card that they take out in your name,
right?
From those bank loans.
So your question, I'll get back to your question originally, because you were asking about that identity theft service. And what that does is it provides restoration services after an identity theft incident. So that means helping file police reports, making sure that if there is a problem with your credit records, getting those fixed, helping bring that credit score back up to where it was before.
Yeah.
Doing things like, we prepare a personalized identity theft recovery kit that we overnight to the client the next day. Somebody that's going through that type of problem, they want to know, what is this going on? And they want to know what steps they need to take. They want to know what steps we're going to take. Mm-hmm. And so helping provide that peace of mind along the way that says, here's what we're going to be doing to help you. Here's what's going to happen to make this easier for you.
And that roadmap, too, is it's in addition to giving you the practical steps that are going to be taking place, it also kind of gives you peace of mind because you at least know what to expect. It's sort of like you have a bad medical diagnosis, but if you know what you're going to do that can help circumvent any of the problems from that, then it doesn't seem like as big of a problem knowing what you can do to take care of it. The next question would be, what is the prepare error guarantee?
Yeah,
How
and
does that work?
this is a good one. I get a lot of questions about this. I'm glad you brought that up. What we did, we came out with this program many years ago, is that we wanted to build a program that was beneficial for both the tax professional and the taxpayer. And one of the areas we found that tax professionals wanted help was in guaranteeing their work. One of the things that helps a taxpayer when going into an office is knowing that this person is going to do good work and that they're going to stand behind their work. And so for us to be able to provide a guarantee on their work, through ProtectionPlus is really valuable to them. It provides confidence to their clients to know, hey, I'm doing good work here. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to stand behind the work that I do for you. That provides a level of comfort to a taxpayer that a different professional might not be able to give. So what we've done is we've included that in our program, kind of as a way to hopefully benefit, not just that tax professional and say, hey, we've got this service, we've got this confidence in our program, but also that taxpayer to know if there is ever something that goes wrong, which there are sometimes, every once in a while, I've made mistakes.
Yeah, everybody does.
I won't say that you have.
Oh, I've made my fair share.
But that's part of life. And
oh, yeah.
It's nice for us to be able to include something like that to say that life happens and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, Brady, I know that at least tax clients would definitely be excited about knowing that their preparer stands behind their work. And for me, I've gone to my preparer forever just because my mom did. And I know a lot of people do that. But it is always a little more comforting to know that, not only do we stand behind our work, but here's the thing that happens in case we do have that error that does pop up. We're still the best in the area, but everybody makes mistakes. So we'll leave that where it's at, and we'll move on to the next question, which is probably the one that people are listening and thinking, which is, well, okay, well, these are all nice services, but why should I really consider offering ancillary products?
Yeah, and I love this question. This is what I get a little passionate about because well, first, before I get into that, ancillary products. Ancillary is a word that maybe everybody doesn't hear all the time. Ancillary, generally, we're talking about a service that is associated with the primary service or good that is being sold or offered.
Right.
And so we're talking about an ancillary benefit. Here, tax services would be the primary benefit, right? So tax preparation, maybe accounting and bookkeeping services, depending on what offices it is and what they provide.
Right.
But ancillary are those services and products that are offered that are related to or support those primary services. And so ProtectionPlus fits pretty much exactly into that role.
Yeah.
As well as, there are some other products out there I see that tax professionals branching out and trying other things. You think about maybe some type of investment or things that are related to their finances already. Again, other areas that a tax professional might branch out so that they can stay busy all year.
Right.
Still related to what it is that they already do. And so when we talk about ancillary benefits, ancillary products, that's where we're getting. And one of the things that I like to talk about is touch points. You think about maybe you go to a store for groceries. You go there for groceries. That's a touch point, a reason you go to that store. Now, let's say that store also offers some of your hygiene needs, right?
Right.
You think about it, most grocery stores now, they offer all kinds of hygiene needs. That's another touch point. It's another reason you're going to that store. Maybe that store also provides, maybe you really like lottery tickets. Maybe they also sell lottery tickets. And you can see that there are, maybe eventually you get 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 reasons that somebody goes to a certain store. If you've got 10 reasons to go to a store, you're a lot more likely to go to that store than if you only have one.
Exactly.
And so that's one of the main reasons that I like to encourage people to think about offering, ancillary benefits, ancillary products and services to their clients, because it gives you multiple touch points. Now, instead of just offering tax services, maybe you also help with accounting services and bookkeeping services that some of your clients need. Maybe you also provide, their audit assistance service, their identity theft coverage. You're creating quite a few reasons now for that client to come back to you next year, which is a compelling argument to see that a service like ProtectionPlus or like some of the other services you might consider offering are worth doing.
That is a great point, Brady. being able to offer your clients more than just one reason to come see you, especially just from the months of basically January to April. You have 8 more months in the year that you might be able to get them in the door.
That's a challenge that we have in this industry is it's seasonal, right? You file taxes generally between January and April.
Right.
And after that, your clients really don't have a whole lot of reasons to think about you until next year.
Exactly. And they might not remember you.
Exactly. And that's one of the struggles. I mean, you think about how most tax professionals send a newsletter, and it's that same strategy. You want people to remember who you are and why they should be coming back to you next year.
All right, Brady. Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ryan. A pleasure to be here.
I look forward to having you on again. I'm sure I will. So that'll be it for today, and we'll see you all on the next Taxing Subjects podcast.